Picture a dance night at a country tavern. Dancers form into circles, some stomp their feet, others swirl with abandon until everyone drops from exhaustion. For a long time, this image was associated with Frédéric Chopin's Mazurkas. One biographer after another claimed that Chopin borrowed directly from peasant tunes, thus perpetuating the myth that the Polish character of his pieces stemmed from an authentic folk music tradition. And this association persisted into the 21st century, including film. Well, it turned out that none of this was true. Biographers operated under biased assumptions, and in fact, Chopin had very little actual exposure to the music of the Polish peasants. So this morning, we would like to answer three questions. Why did Chopin compose Mazurkas? Second, in what ways was this music innovative? And third, why is this still important to us today? Mazurkas mattered greatly to Chopin's generation. This generation came of age at a time of nationalist awakening in a long partitioned Poland. This is what Poland looked like in the 1700s, and then again at the end of the 18th century. It no longer existed, divided amongst its powerful neighbors. Then it was reinstated, though much smaller, under Russian rule in 1815. Chopin's formative years in 1820s Warsaw coincided then with a period of short, relative political freedom. 1820s Warsaw were also a time of cultural revival, as well as social unrest and covert political activity that culminated in the anti-Russian uprising of November 1830. After the uprising failed, many went into exile, mostly to Paris, where Chopin later settled. So since the turn of the 19th century, Poles debated what it meant to be a nation without a state. What really held them together were their shared culture and traditions. So in Paris, and later in Warsaw, and later in Paris, many arrangements of homegrown dances, like the mazurka, began to dominate the Polish salons, ballrooms, and the opera house. And these urban mazurkas were stylized, cleaned up versions of the rowdy music, with which they still shared some characteristics, like the triple meter, the energetic drone, flirtatious melodies, stomping accents, dotted rhythms, and repetitive structure. So a good example of this kind of urban music, of playful variety, is Chopin's Mazurka, Opus 56, number 2. Chopin composed mazurkas profusely throughout his life, and he innovated the genre in two important ways. First, he experimented at the piano with new expressive possibilities, from exuberant gaiety to unremitting melancholy. Second, he intended these pieces not for dancing, but to be listened to, like stories, musical stories of loss, of exile, and of longing for an independent Poland. Fellow composer Robert Schumann famously referred to his music, to Chopin's music, as guns buried in flowers. So the next mazurka, Opus 17, number 4, weeps and echoes with that kind of longing and sadness. The story of Chopin's Mazurka is the story about how musical meanings shift and transform over time. In 1820s Warsaw, Chopin's Mazurkas were to peasant music what in the 1960s America, Bob Dylan's electric guitar was to the folk music revival. A paradigm shift. And when we consider the social implications of such musical innovations, we can unravel a fascinating collective story behind any piece of music. And oftentimes, the story can prove to be as powerful as the music itself. Thank you.